and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1997A, and today's date is October 16th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Mainstream Media Manipulates Economic Numbers, Trump Controls the Economic Narrative. Now, before we get started, let's talk about investing in the market. There's never been a better time in history to invest in the stock market and cryptocurrencies. Trade Genius over the last 30 days have netted its traders nearly 40% on their money from spot-on crypto and stock trades. Their binary options program overall record is now at 161 wins with 11 losses, and cryptocurrency trades are up over 550% on the year. Right now through October, for their Halloween specials, you can save over 50% off their bundle specials, and or use promo code Halloween40 for 40% off all non-bundled items. Check out TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Tell them X22 Report sent you. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we know the deep state, the central banks, they are desperate to stop Trump. And one thing that Trump does have, well, he has many others, but the main thing that he does have is he has control over the economic system. Not one candidate can touch him in regards to the economy. He's controlled the stock market. He's controlled the unemployment numbers. He's controlled the GDP numbers. And there's nothing the other candidates can possibly say. The mainstream media can't really say much about the economy. They can't really mention the stock market. The only thing they can say is that the stock market's going to come down. That's the only thing they can say, but they can't say, oh, the stock market is not really an indicator of what the economy is doing. Or the stock market is manipulated through the central bank. Or the unemployment numbers are manipulated. The GDP numbers are manipulated, because that will fall right back on them. Trump would just turn this whole thing around and say, well, I'm using the same calculations that you've been using, that you've been telling the American people for years upon years upon years. You're telling me all of this has been manipulated? That's why they can't use this. This is why they're going down a different route. And the route is trying to make everyone believe that this recession is coming. Now, don't get me wrong. We know that these numbers are completely off. They're manipulated. They have been for a very long time. Trump and the Patriots, they know this. But to win the next election, to get the people's support, what do you have to do? You have to make sure that everyone understands that the economy is 10 times better than it was. That those people who couldn't find jobs, I'm talking about the low-paying jobs, minorities, and the rest, they have found jobs. And they're making a living. And the mainstream media, what can they do? The only thing they can do is have different financial pundits on their networks and say, hey, we have a problem in the economy. A recession is coming. Now, they're pushing many different stories. And this reminds me of the story with Syria and Turkey and the Kurds, where they put up a fake video and they said, oh, this is the Kurds being hit by Turkey. And we find out that it's fake. And when you look at some of these headlines, you can see the mainstream media, they're misleading the public on retail sales. Now, I'm not saying retail sales are fantastic. If you look at retail sales, they really haven't gone anywhere, and stores are having a very difficult time surviving. But what they have done is they picked out a specific time frame, and they tried to create this narrative around this little tiny time frame to let everyone know that what Trump is doing, it's not working. This is coming out of Barron's. This is the headline. Retail sales fell in September. Is it time to worry about the U.S. consumer? The Wall Street Journal. U.S. retail sales fell in September. America shoppers pull back on spending in September, signaling a key support for the U.S. economy. This year could be softening amid a broader global economic slowdown. Now, of course, they got the global economic slowdown from the IMF, and they're saying that consumers are pulling back. And then we have Bloomberg. And it says this is a masterpiece about the suddenly shaky consumer. Retail sales unexpectedly drop and sign consumers are shaky. Now, when you look at the retail numbers, we need to understand what is happening here. So if you look at total retail and food services, restaurants, cafes, etc., retail sales rose by 4.1%. Retail sales without food services rose by 4.0%. Food services sales rose by 4.9%. Retail sales without gasoline sales rose by 4.7%. Retail sales without gasoline, motor vehicle parts, sales rose by 4.5%. So a 4% year-over-year increase in retail sales is pretty strong and about in line what you expect from the figures. But what the mainstream media has done is they've taken the September sales numbers and they're focusing on a month-to-month sales number. Now, what happens seasonally? What happens at certain times? Well, things change. And it's a pattern. It's not like this is a one-off thing. In August, when everyone is going back to school, August sales are quite strong. Then what happens? They drop off in September. Yes, this is their pattern. If you look at 2018, you look at 2017, 16, 15, 14, you can see the pattern. Strong sales, drop off. It's almost like the holiday season, where during the Obama administration, they said, oh, look, everyone's getting a job. No, these were all part-time jobs during the holiday season. And then they would come out and say, oh, look, retail sales are booming. Well, no, these are holiday sales. And then what would happen right after holiday sales? All those part-time jobs would disappear. And guess what? The sales would drop. We're seeing the same thing. But they only cherry-picked this small little area to say, oh, look, the consumers are shaky right now. Again, more people believe, and this is a really big part of it, if people believe that the economy is doing well, they spend more. If they see their homes going up in appreciation, which is only on paper, they feel good and they go out and they spend money. Trump has made everyone feel fantastic. And people, they are spending. Credit card spending is up. They feel like things are turning around. And once again, Trump is using this to control the economic narrative. Optics are very important. He needs to be reelected in 2020. How do you do this? You control the economy. Now, Trump is out there and he's warning that if he's not elected, guess what's going to happen? The entire economic system is going to fall apart. He tweeted out the following: our record economy would crash, and crashes in all caps, just like 1929 if any of those clowns became president. Now, think about what he's saying here. He's letting everyone know that if anyone else is in office, the system's going to crash. Why? Because this was the plan before he was elected. They thought Clinton was going to be elected. The central bank, the deep state, they had a plan. The plan was to create this major event, which is a war, have the economic system come down. They could cover it up with the war, say, hey, everyone has to sacrifice. We're in a war right now with Russia, North Korea, whoever it was going to be. This is why you see the shelves, they are bare. This is why we're not getting fuel. And really what that was is the entire central bank system imploding on itself. That's what that is really about. And Trump is letting everyone know, if he's not elected in 2020, you can expect a horrific crash, not a recession, not a depression, but a crash of the entire global central bank system. Now, am I saying we're not going to see a crash? But it's going to be different. Remember, the central banks, the deep state, they don't care how the system comes down. They don't care how many people are hurt. They don't care that they are using a war to limit the population, to start the whole thing over. The patriots, they're creating a parallel economy. Why do you think he's working so fast on these trade deals? Why do you think he's working so hard to get someone who has sound money experience inside the Fed? Why do you think He's bringing corporations back to the United States, trying to bring back as many manufacturers as possible to the United States, trying to make as many manufacturers move out of China as best he can. All of this is for a reason, because they're trying to limit the exposure of every single person when we transition into the new economy. And we can see that Trump is making deals. He tweeted out that China has already begun agricultural purchases from our great patriot farmers and ranchers, and China's going to have to purchase a lot more. Why? Because they are in trouble. And we can see that Trump is ready to inject the drug into the economy. Will this fix the economy? No. The central bank economy cannot be fixed. It's doomed. The only thing that can happen here is that the central bankers reset their system. And what I mean by this is limit the population, have a war that will do this, and then go ahead and move the current system someplace else. Now, most likely, they will start off using gold to back it, to give everyone confidence. Why do you think the central banks have been ramping up on gold purchases? Because they know their system's falling apart, and when it falls apart, they ramp up on gold purchases, and then when the reset comes, they put the entire system back on gold to build confidence. And what happens is, slowly over time, they remove the system off gold. Trump and the Patriots, they have a different plan. And again, when I say they're going to put it on gold, it's going to be linked to maybe an SDR or something like that. But the Patriots have a completely different plan. And it's not the central bank plan. It has nothing to do with a private Western central bank. It has to do with the people creating their own currency with no interest attached, where the currency is backed by sound money, by gold or something. Don't know exactly what it is. I assume gold. Something that is stable, that has been stable for thousands upon thousands of years. And this will not include the central bank. Actually, the Patriots are going to expose the central bank. They're going to show the people that these private Western central banks, they are the cause of the problem here in the United States and around the world. And we should never, again, let this happen, where we give the creation of currency to a private corporation. That's where the Patriots are headed. And guess what? The Patriots right now, they have the upper hand. Once Trump is in the office again for 2020, he's going to push this agenda. And we're going to see change in this economy. This whole entire economic landscape is going to change like we've never seen before. Actually, everything that we've seen, the wealth gap, the minimum wage, everything that we've been experiencing, the value of currency declining over time, that's going to disappear. The currency is going to hold its value. You won't need for the minimum wage to be moved up. You won't need a debt ceiling. Actually, the government will not be able to borrow more than they have. Guess what that cuts down on? Corruption. We're going to see everything change. But again, we have to go through a transition. Just like we went through a transition in 71 to a fiat system. We're going from a fiat system back to the sound money system. So get prepared, get ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.